Okay, we got this great Blender solution in Visual Studio 2017, and the point of this particular video here is to finish this up with making some simple changes that should appear in the application. So to recap, if we go into and launch our Blender we have created, and if we go in here and bring in our vase, notice we only have the 24 materials for the MatCaps. We're going to add 5 more, and they should appear here once we've made our changes to the code and compiled and built. So that's our goal. And in the last video, if you remember, in the source, actually in the release, so in the Blender side here in the release, if we go to data files and MatCaps, we added these 5 new JPEGs, which are variations of the images up here, and this is what should appear. Now what happens is, rather than referring inside the code to these binary files, it actually does a conversion during the build. There's some directives in the make list files, and it converts them to, if we go into the solution and look at the corresponding directory under data files, MatCaps, these are actually text files. If we bring up look at this, and if we drag one of these in here, you'll notice that this is completely converted to binary file. So it's a nice way of sort of embedding small binary files into code using this data to C utility. So, okay, so that's done. So what we're going to do is we're going to search, and if you remember in the last video we had some clues we saw in the draw object. One of the functions had to do with the MatCap. It had something called MatCap, a symbol called MatCap _24. So sometimes I find the searching in Sublime Text faster, so more convenient. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in here and let's see, let's bring in this guy. I'll just drag the entire blender-git into here. And the code that we're going to, my guess is the code that we need to change is going to be in the source directory. So I'm going to do a find in folder, and then I'm going to use a MatCap _24, come into here, and it should find four. So it's found 4 files. One in UI icons in the header file, one in the C file, and you can kind of see it's doing some initiation. It's got some macros, but you know, are there other files as well? Since we have a reference to this, it's probably good to actually search on this symbol as well, this MC24. So let's do that and see if we pick up any more files, because we don't see a make file, and we probably do need to make a change there. So I'm going to put in MC24. And now we find 3 more. One may be a duplicate, but yes, here is that function data to C. So it's taking any binary data and converting it to a C file. So we need to change that, and add our MC25 through 29 there, and then we'll probably have externals for this for MC 25 through 29 and so forth. So I'm going to do this offline, and when we come back we'll be able to build and compile this, and that should be it. That it should appear in the GUI and should be operational. So I'll pause here to do that. Okay, so I made the changes. I'll bring this up, and it turns out, yes indeed, there are 6 files, and you can kind of eyeball this to see what was needed to be done. This is not the best of code. Generally, when you want to add new things, you shouldn't have to hard code them like this is done, but that's just the way things are. So you can see here I added 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9 to this particular file. Interface icons. This one, we had to move this up from 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Draw object. We've got a new boundary from 24 to 29. Another kind of bad programming approach, but that's okay. No big deal. These are probably not intended to be added to. And then this one here defines some macros here, going to 9. Going to here, have some externals, so we added those. And finally, this one is that actually converts. So when we do the build, you'll see that it'll create these new C files for 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9, which we didn't see before. Okay, so we changed these. I just did in Sublime Text because it was easier. And so now I'll bring up the Visual Studio. And then we should be able to, it should recognize the changes. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a build. This may take a little time. Not sure how much. It should be an incremental build. And so I'll pause and do that build. So actually what you do is go into build and build solution. So I did encounter this dialog. So I'm going to, it detected that I made changes outside. It would have been probably better to make the changes within the solution, but we'll do that and then see what happens. So it finished, and the beauty of this is we got 46 succeeded, nothing failed. So let's bring up our newly compiled application and see what happens. Oh, and by the way, you can see that it created the 25 through 29 here. So we'll launch this. If we're lucky, we don't have any errors. So I'll bring up my vase. Ooh, we've got the 5 new ones. And it works. So, it took a while to do this, but we were able to get a nice Visual Studio solution to Blender, and with just some simple guesses and searching in the code, we were able to find places where we could add this by just looking for a pattern, and voila, it actually worked. So this concludes this video. Future videos may go into actually examining some of the code, some of the OpenGL code, and see how it actually works at some point.